So, look, massive thanks for joining us. I'm here today with some superstars from Mipim, Mipim 2023. So, massive thanks, Ro, Marc, Sam, and Jack. So, look, before I get into the meat, I just want to do a few introductions. So, Ro, can we start with yourself? Just a little bit about yourself. I know you're a developer, you focus on HMOs, but a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah, sure. I'm a South London-based investment developer, primarily HMOs for professional and supported living. I also do planning uplift, working with land and site owners. My background prior to property was banking, and then I was military as an army officer for 8 years prior to that.
Okay, Marc, I know a little bit about your background, formerly from Shawbrook. Now you're broker and you're involved. Oh, am I allowed to mention the PPN word yet? I think it's
And
well known.
sure, yeah, you can mention what you want. I've got nothing to hide. So now I'm the owner of Wharf Financial. We are what we like to class as bespoke brokers, so working in the property investment and development space, as well as trading business. And why I say it's bespoke, it's quite specialist. So if it's a little bit difficult, that's when we like getting involved. The people who work in Wharf are all ex-bankers. Myself, I was at RBS, Lloyds, and Shawbrook, and yeah, we're very well equipped to look at anything property.
Okay, so I learned something today. So it's not just Shawbrook, RBS, and Lloyd's beforehand. So brilliant. Sam, massive thanks. So Sam put me up in the villa, the villa, which was absolutely amazing. So tricky to get to sometimes though, but a lovely villa nonetheless. So Sam, I should really know your pitch better than anyone else's, but Midas Property Group, Midas Auctions, key influencer, key connector, but how else would you phrase yourself, Sam? Oh, Sam, we've lost you there. Oh, Sam, still don't have you on audio. No. Sam?
You have
Ah,
now.
there we have.
Oh, I don't know why my headset is not on audio. Okay, let me just talk. For some reason, my headset is not on audio. Okay, yeah. So I'm Sam Fongho. I am part of Midas Property Auctions. We just an independent auction brokerage firm. We dispose and acquire properties at auction, off market, from estate agents on the behalf of clients. That's really what we do. And besides that, we organize a lot of meetings uh, for landlords of forums like Harrow, Brent, Barnet, Havering, quite a few local authorities. We've done their landlord consultation events with about 600 people. We tend to do those for free. We fund them, but sometimes we have stands. But the key thing for us is that people book on our system. So as a result of that, we have a database of 40,000 investors. And of course, one of the things that we're well known for is the property question time that we did for about 8 years with London Auction House. Myself and Jay, we did a pre-auction event. So again, it helped us pick up data. So we are very data rich. So we're always looking for ways to mine that data.
Sure.
Now, I think Rule
Sam?
mentioned about HMOs. We do a lot of supported living leases for clients who match the HMO, tired HMO owners with supported living providers looking for places. So we're always doing open houses.
Okay.
So we're just people. That's it. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. And Jack, can you hear us? Jack, can you hear us? No. Okay. Look, I just want to get things moving, things flowing. So first question is, Ro, I open it to all of you, but let's kick off with Ro. Ro, this was your first Mipim. I think Marc, you've been to Mipim before, and it's my third Mipim, but to be fair, far the best one. What was your expectation of Mipim before, Ro?
Yeah,
and did the expectation be fulfilled as well?
yeah, absolutely. So my first time out last week, I sort of went along relatively last minute. It's not something I'd planned to do. I think we've all seen a lot of hype around the event. We see a lot of pictures of people drinking champagne and the like on social media, and probably wonder what all the fuss is about. So I thought, well, let's give it a go. I had an invitation to join somebody who was going to be out in Cannes anyway, not specifically for Mipim, but we decided we'd kind of tag team it together. Somebody I know who's got a design and build firm that does a lot of super prime residential in London. We thought, okay, let's go out there, do a bit of networking. So I had no expectations, but I knew that it was going to be, an interesting time to make some high quality contacts. And I didn't go out there with an agenda. I thought, let's come back, let's just see what it's about and see where it takes me. I have to say, I'll definitely be going back again, because the quality of the interactions, the discussions, the people I met, had the honor of meeting people like Marc here today as well. So thanks very much for that introduction, Brendan. Brilliant. And I think, even though there's no direct business opportunities that will come away from that trip, I know that actually off the back of a lot of conversations, there's going to be a lot of value. So definitely a big thumbs up for me. I think the biggest thing for me is actually just being surrounded by people who are really at the top of their game and are committed to what they do in the industry. And that's quite inspirational in itself, because everybody makes an effort to be out there. So fantastic.
Thank you. Marc, this was, I think, your fourth time, is that correct?
Third time, yeah.
Third time. And one question I forgot to ask Ro. Ro, you were there from Monday to Friday, is that right?
That's right. I was there all week, and I didn't actually. I had a few key events which I'd kind of booked into the diary before. I didn't really know what to expect or what else was going to be going on. I'm really pleased I did it that way, because I did hear about a lot of people who go out there and kind of book all their time up in advance, and you just don't know whether you're going to have the right sort of interactions that you want to be having out there. And I think it's much better to be a bit more spontaneous. So I think you've got a question for me, which I'll answer later on, but in terms of what I might do differently next time. But I think that worked well for me, just having a few discrete diary events, and I'm freestyling it for the rest of it.
Marc, you were there, I think, from the Sunday or the weekend, certainly, to the following weekend. You've been there before. Was it longer stay, or was it the similar stay period as before?
So previously I've done Tuesday to Friday, but this time I did Sunday to Sunday. And I think in the world we live in now, we have to look after our mental health and make sure we're not overdoing it. And that may sound counterproductive, being at Mipim, where there is some drinking that goes on, etc. But for me, I don't personally drink, and I wanted to go out and have a bit of a relax before and afterwards. So I prolonged it. And it's interesting what Ro's saying. The first time, especially, I went to Mipim Festival, the approach I took was to go back-to-back meetings all the way through, and I would go to all the events. And it was really difficult. It was really tough, running all over the place. And this time I thought, I'm going to book a couple of meetings in the diary each day, and then see what happens. And for me, you do more business and you do better business that way, getting introduced to people that you potentially weren't going to see. And it really does flow better, in my opinion. And I think it's more worthwhile than going to the bigger events when people are a little bit more stiff, and they're there and you don't really get a proper chance to speak to them. It's better when you're in the cafes and you just bump into people and start chatting.
Sam, you had the best of both worlds. You were with me in the villa. No. You were in the conference center, plus you had Cafe Roma as well. And there was also other cafes like New York, and I can't remember the other names, but those are two key places. What did you learn? I know this was your first time there, and what would you do differently? So you were there from Sunday to Sunday, yeah?
Absolutely. Sunday to Sunday, and I had to be evicted from the villa on Sunday. We thought it was a late checkout. Then 10 o'clock, which everyone had gone from the villa. Just two of us left. Were planning to go into a swimming pool. We had cleaners come and they said we had to leave in 30 minutes. So I did a Facebook Live saying that we're being evicted. So kicking. But so it's that much fun that they had to throw me out of the country. But in terms of the experience, of course, you were a big part of it. I think everyone loved your your entertainment, and you kept everyone going basically with a few jokes and stuff like that. But in terms of what I learned, I loved it. My biggest regret is not going for the last couple of years when I'm close to people that go every year, like Prash every year is going, he says to me, let's go, I'll pull out last minute. But I regretted it. First stepping out, I started on a high note when I went to the co-living, which is like a pre-Mipim event. I was mind blown by what I heard. I've been doing properties for a long time, doing all these events. I've made it claim that I understand all property strategies, done all so much, but here I am, and I go into co-living. I'm there listening to people that have been in the property industry for 3-4 years, and they say they have 1,000 units. I'm like, these guys, they just start and then they scale within a few minutes. They just blow away what we say here, that you have to start from rent to rent, do one buy to let, do HMOs. These guys, I saw something totally different. They come into a sector, look at co-living, they write their projects, maybe get funding, and then boom, they do 200, 400 units. They don't go through those metamorphoses that we advise people in the UK to go through gradually. That for me was one of my key takeaways from the co-living. And then we met them. Those guys, they've not been in the industry for 4 or 5 years, but they all have like 1,000 units. So I'm thinking that's what we should be doing. We should be going in there, not trying to buy 1-2 units, writing our plans and getting funding. So for me, the pre-Mipim event was already enough for my 2,500 pounds if I didn't, or 2,500 euros if I didn't see anything else. That was fantastic networking. And we finally went. And then during the week itself of the Mipim, I'm a bit nutty in the sense that I follow podcasts for properties in Singapore, in Dubai, in Cape Verde. So I had that interest. I went to every single stand in the on the I walked through the whole village. Don't want to miss on any stand. So I went through from one to the next, Lithuania, Poland, Slovakia, all the stands. I went in and I chatted with the people, gave them a business card, chatted with them, asked them a lot of questions, and then surprised to see someone take a lot of interest. So I did the whole village walk. And then of course spent a lot of time in the London room for the presentations. And then some of the UK, the property developers club. I went down, did a video with the guys on the stand. So most of the UK stands, I'll go and maybe do a video of them, ask them questions and things like that. But for me, I think it was fantastic. And then of course the evening events, good.
Let me just interrupt for a moment, because you mentioned stands. Jack, are you online? Can you hear us? If you can hear us, just let me know.
Yeah, I think my signal is okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So, and we've only got literally just over 9 minutes before we conclude this interview.
I think my signal's okay for a short period of time.
Okay. So, Jack, you exhibited at Mipim. I was going to ask you, what was your experience of exhibiting, and what would you do differently if you were exhibiting?
So obviously I had the pleasure, as we're part of the Developers Club, which is a London-based club of serial young and up-and-coming developers. So we were on the stand representing the Developers Club. And I'm sure Sam's gone into a lot of detail about inside the conference, but we had the pleasure of, people stumbling across our stand and having a bit of an opportunity.
Okay. I think we've lost you, Jack, there. But we heard that you did exhibit. I just want to bring you all in. Ro, Sam, Mark, what would you, lots of people said, is it worth going? Okay, we all agree it is worth going, but what would you do differently in 30 seconds or less, Ro, Mark, and then Sam? Ro, what would you do differently? You'd have your diary a little bit more organized, but how would you be so well connected or to have that diary busy in the first place?
I think the first thing is make sure you do a bit of homework before you go there. Get a sense of who's going to be out there, who you want to perhaps be spending a bit of time with. I like to kind of make time to connect with the super connectors, as I like to call them, people who already have advanced and established networks who can help to signpost you, let you know which are the best events to try and go and attend, who are going to help you with your own business objectives, people who've been there before. So connecting with them beforehand, getting a sense of, you know, what is happening where and when, so at least you can think about it when you're out there rather than stumbling around in the dark and working out for yourself. And I think just picking up on a point that Sam made earlier, I think it's great when you go to a place like that, you're surrounded by some really, you know, excellent talent, really people who are achieving great things. And I think that's a great way of raising your game, because it's only by surrounding yourself by people like that that you think about what you can achieve yourself in your own business, and not necessarily taking the traditional path that we all know about. As Sam mentioned, many people jump in at a much higher level. And when you're surrounded by people who are doing that, it seems more achievable. That's what I would do.
I was going to say, Mark, you've been there 3 or 4 times, however many times. So your experience, you've changed your approach. I changed my approach. First time I worked really hard and it didn't work for me. Second time I didn't work so hard. And I also realized, you know, someone told me that Mipim takes patience. It's not instant return, you know, and that's what you may think on social media. You see everyone drinking champagne all the time, but it's interesting, you don't drink. So Mark, you can do Mipim without drinking and still have fun. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah. So you had your first question to Ro about what I do differently. I'll answer that one, and then I'll go on to about the lack of drinking. What I would do differently is I would take a video crew or a social media person with me. I'm quite strong on social media anyway. I do quite a bit on there, but I would probably take somebody who can document my journey and give everybody a flavour of what happens. And I think that would be good. I think that would increase the reach outside of Mipim as well, outside of Cannes. So that's the first thing I do. And also
Mark,
with
Mark, can I just interrupt?
Yeah,
That's fascinating,
yeah.
because what I've seen since coming back, and I didn't know people had a permission, or maybe they didn't, but I have seen people use drones. I don't know if you've seen it on LinkedIn, but they definitely used a drone above Cafe Roma. Not sure it's allowed, but they've done it anyway. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, well, I think the social media side is really important. And your second question about the drinking, for me, it actually works better not drinking, because you get a lot of people who carry on into the night, and I find when people are a bit looser with information when they maybe have a drink, and I'm able to digest that a lot better than everybody else. You know, get ahead in the game a little bit more and understand what's going on and who's talking to who. You become a bit more perceptive when people lose their inhibition. So I think it actually is an advantage not drinking, because also you're the odd one out. And again, it's an icebreaker. People say, "What do you want to drink?" And I say, "Oh, I have a Coke Zero," and they're like, "Well, you're not drinking," and then it gets a conversation going. So anything that's an icebreaker and gives you an advantage is good in my world.
Okay.
Okay,
Sam,
Brendan, let me just. Oh, okay, it's my turn. I was going to say
drinking.
starting with the drinking, because Brendan and everyone they were saying I'm anti-drinking, because I kept every social media post I did live. I said in Mipim, all stands have alcohol, but no food, because that was what I noticed. You go to Poland, you go to the English, the London stand, Manchester, all those rooms, they all had free alcohol but no food. And I promised myself I don't drink. I wasn't going to drink until 7 o'clock. I wanted to stay sober until early evening, even though I end up not drinking in the evening because I had to drive Brendan back to the apartment.
Yeah, that's the snag with the villa. I was going to say that's the only thing with villas.
Yeah.
My only advice here, or one piece of advice, I love Mark's thing about social media. You know, do you bring a photographer from, or do you bring someone from the UK, or do you work with someone who's based in France as well? That's a good question, and that's a longer debate. Go on, Sam.
Did you see this guy, Rehoboth? Rebirth. He
Yeah.
had 3 social media crew with him. And I went to one of his talks, sat on his round table, and he actually did fantastically well, like Marc is saying, because he had camera. In fact, I recognize that camera guy from Savoy Events. He's the one that always films Savoy Events. So he actually flew them out and paid for them to come in. So he has when he was talking to anyone, those guys were walking around filming him. So he's killed it for social media completely, which is great. But in terms of what I would do differently next year, first I've already started looking for a villa that's not more than 10 minutes walk. Now I have a good taxi guy in our pocket who got a great taxi guy that was giving us is giving me all the clubs, the bars. I have a rooftop that I can see the sea from, and he's giving me all these good seaside bars. And then I'm getting him to research a yacht, because I want to put a few clients together and then put an event, because I noticed it will help my network if I facilitate it, because Brendan and I, we like organizing for people to get together. So I think I've already got about 3 or 4 sponsors that say, Sam, how much do you want from me? So I'm going to be, so you got someone that I'm going to be having lots of events myself in there. So that's what I'm going to do differently next time.
I promised the video would be 20 minutes max. I think I've gone about 1 or 2 minutes over. So Marc, just a final 30 seconds. So potentially next year there may be golf. Is that correct?
There could be golf. Who knows? I tried to do it this year, but then I hurt my back just beforehand, so it died a bit of a death. But yeah, next year, why not on the Monday? If we can get enough people out there, be good to enjoy the golf in the sun.
Okay. Ro, any final comments before I come to conclusion? And feel free to reach out to myself, Sam, or Marc, and we can, tell you a little bit more in depth and so forth. We've got all our own views. Any last comment, Ro?
Yeah, no, it was great to hang out with you as well, Brendan, out there. I think thanks to you, I met a few new people, and we had a bit of fun bouncing around a few events together. And it's great if you've got somebody who could be a wing person whilst you're out there as well. If you're thinking of going out there alone, then that always helps as well, and you can diversify the events that you go to also.
Sure. Sam, I wish we could speak longer, but I did promise it would be 20 minutes max, and we've come up to our time. Marc, I just want to say massive thanks as well.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll see you. Hopefully, see you tomorrow.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hope so too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, great. So thank you